In the book of Genesis, we meet a young man named Joseph, one of the 12 sons of Jacob. His story is one of betrayal, suffering, faith, and redemption. It is a story that reminds us that even in our darkest moments, God is still at work. Joseph was his father's favorite son, and Jacob gave him a special coat as a sign of that love. But this favoritism stirred jealousy in the hearts of Joseph's brothers. Joseph also shared dreams that suggested one day his family would bow before him. His brothers were furious. One day, when Joseph went to check on them in the fields, they plotted against him. They threw him into a pit and sold him to traveling merchants for 20 pieces of silver. Joseph was taken to Egypt and sold to a man named Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh. Even though Joseph was a slave in a foreign land, the Lord was with him. Joseph worked faithfully and soon was placed in charge of Potiphar's entire household. But Joseph's trials were not over. Potiphar's wife falsely accused him after Joseph refused her advances. Because of this lie, Joseph was thrown into prison. Yet even in prison, God remained with Joseph. He earned the trust of the prison keeper and was given responsibility over the other prisoners. While there, Joseph interpreted dreams for 2 of Pharaoh's servants. Years later, when Pharaoh himself was troubled by mysterious dreams, Joseph was called from prison to interpret them. Joseph explained that God had revealed 7 years of abundance would be followed by 7 years of severe famine. Recognizing Joseph's wisdom, Pharaoh placed him in charge of preparing Egypt for the coming famine. At just 30 years old, Joseph became second in command over all of Egypt. When the famine spread across the land, Joseph's brothers traveled to Egypt seeking food. They did not recognize the brother they had betrayed years before, but Joseph recognized them. Instead of revenge, Joseph chose forgiveness. He told them, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Joseph's story reminds us that God can turn betrayal into blessing, suffering into purpose, and trials into testimony. No matter how deep the pit may seem, God is able to bring us to the palace. This is the voice of Joseph, one of the many voices of the Bible whose story still speaks today. Thank you for listening to the Voices of the Bible. If this story encouraged you, take a moment to subscribe and join us as we continue exploring the powerful voices and lessons found throughout Scripture. And remember, though these stories were written long ago, their truth still echoes in our lives today. Until next time, keep listening, because the Bible still speaks.